Turn up the dial, it's 10:30. Be back. Spin that back show, all the classics on track. From 79 to 99, we're crossing the gap. Album reviews, little known facts, hip hop intact. Saturday mornings, dive into the history. Samples and stories, old school mysteries. Early self statics, Shiraz and CBD. No about a bean. Turn it up, let the vinyl spin. 10:30 sharp, where the stories begin. From the golden era, treasures within. Spin that back show every Saturday when we break it down, the legends and the lore. Every beat, every rhyme, uncover more. From Grandmaster Flash to Nas's Raw, we're bridging the past, hip-hop's core.
Uh-oh, it's 10:30 on a Saturday morning. So it's time for that Spin That Back show. And check this out. I got my sidekick here, Mr. Nice Guy. Mr. Nice Guy, what's going on with you?
Chilling, bro. Getting ready for my birthday next week. So that's what's up. You know,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
So birthday season for me.
Yeah, you're going to be about 34, huh?
Plus about 20.
Okay, well, check it out. So Spin That Back show. What we do here is we talk about hip-hop from 79 to 99. The golden era and everything before the millennium. So that's when recorded hip-hop was on record that we know of. And we just go up to that time right there. We just take those 20 years and we kind of like talk about artists and our experience and everything, you know, in that time frame. So
just,
today.
And just to add to clarify, that when we talk about recorded era, the first record was in 79. So we understand that hip-hop goes way back before that. What was happening in the parks, we wasn't around because we were on the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is the records touched us. That began with Rapper's Delight. That was 79. So when we talk about the recorded era, we're talking about the vinyl CD era of hip-hop, of the mass promotion, you know, of it. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, and we go over, some of the artists that had influence on us, the ones that we like, the ones we don't like, the ones that, like I said, had some type of influence on the culture and us in particular. So today we're going to talk about one of the most slept on artists, in my opinion, because I slept on him. But I was going back through his catalog from that time, his first couple of, 2-3 albums, Mac 10. So along with Mac 10, we already talked about Ice Cube, of course. We talked about Dub C, but he was the third part of the Westside connection. So we're going to all lump them all in together. But I want to take some time to talk about Mac 10. I want to say one thing about Mac 10. Mac 10 is, first of all, like I say, he's underrated. I slept on him. I like when he has interviews and stuff. He's very low key. You don't really hear much about this dude. He's still doing a whole lot in the industry. I think he's like a promoter, and he's got his own little businesses going, like real estate and stuff like that. So he's active, still getting his money and everything. He ain't really making no noise musically like that. I think he released the album maybe a few years ago. It probably did what it did, but those first few albums, they was actually good. I didn't get them because I had a bias. I don't know what the bias was. I won't say what the bias was, but I listened to him and I'm like, man, this dude can actually rap. And another thing is, this is another thing I really realized. Ice Cube, when he hooked up with Cam, he kind of got a little bit of Cam's flow. He got influenced by Cam's flow a little bit. When he hooked up with Mac 10, you can tell he got a lot of influence from Mac 10 too. Around that time, when Mac 10 came out, listen to Mac 10 and listen to Ice Cube. Mac 10 might have wrote some songs for Ice Cube. Let me just say it like that. I don't know, but it sounds like that to me.
Look, I'll interject this. When I listen to Westside Slaughterhouse, I hear Ice Cube being Ice Cube. There's no question. Ice Cube was notorious for taking things from people, jacking for beats. He's a guy that will be influenced by all type of people. And, part of that is growth. Part of it, was biting and theft. You know what I'm saying? So I do think Ice Cube is the dude that taught a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have been emulating Ice Cube. So that's a two-way street. So, that's what's up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you. But I'm just saying, just the cadence and flow in a sense, the way that they kind of delivered. But since you had brought that up, the Westside Slaughterhouse, that's actually on Mac 10's first album.
Oh man!
And I'm gonna tell you something about that song. That kind of started the East Coast West Coast thing to me, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? This is before Hit 'Em Up, and this is I think Pac was probably in jail when this came out. Actually, I think it came out around 95 or something like that. But either way, they started. Well, they said that Mac 10 said it like this. Well, actually, it said in the song. They was talking about cats on the East Coast that was dissing West Coast music, and they was getting tired of it. That's why they made that song, But they was going at people kind of hard, especially how Q kind of came at Common with pussy whip bitch with no common sense. That was kind of a low blow.
But check this out. Okay, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, I pretty much grew up on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? That's really most of my experience. My Tennessee is mostly from a large chunk of my family moving here with me. So we brought a lot of Memphis here. So you know what I'm saying? So but I still like to say that as a person that was a part of a West Coast rap group, I took offense when I heard HER. When Q talks about how he heard that song by Common, I felt the exact same way. I just was like, whoa, hold up. And I rock with East Coast music. I identify more musically with East Coast music. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm culturally from. That's where hip hop started. That's I'm a diehard b-boy, boom bap, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, hold up. You gotta clear one thing. What's HER though?
So HER was the song that Common did, and that was I Used to Love Her, and he was talking about hip hop. So in that song, he was talking about hip hop, and he basically is talking about, like, when he talked about how it went out with the West, it was kind of like disrespectful. I'm like, wait a second. You act like the West Coast people are the reason why they're talking about shooting and killing all this stuff. These East Coast cats is doing it just as much as anything. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's pretty much the whole 90s is about shooting and killing and whatever, stuff like that. So I took offense to it. I'm just saying that I still respect the Common. I just was like, I didn't like that. And the fact that they did that song, I felt like they felt the same thing that I felt, and they killed it. That song is the East Coast banger. Like the track is dope. Everything they did with it is dope. You can say what you want to say about the bitch and you, but it never surpassed Westside Slaughterhouse for me. It just wasn't on that level. I'm just saying this song was incredible.
Yeah, you know what? The reason that I ain't gonna say the reason, but I'm gonna say that they actually did Common a favor by actually addressing all that and making that song. That even saying that part right there and making him respond, because actually that took Common from the underground rapper on that album. That I guess that was the second album, maybe second or third album. But that album with that song on there, I think it had that one song, "The Light," on there too. From Common, which was actually a good song.
Yeah, that was a good album. That was a good album. That was after. I'm pretty sure, wasn't that after this? The Light. I feel like The Light came out when I felt like pretty much most of the people.
It was probably the next album after that.
Yeah, because that was just a little quick note. That came out when I felt like most of the people from my era were not in the mainstream. And him and Jay-Z were the two stalwarts that were still putting in work. And I was like, man, salute to them cats from our generation still putting things down. So, I'm not a big Common fan. I find him to be boring, but I thought that was a really good album,
Well, you know what? Let me actually look up Common's albums real quick while I'm talking about it. Because it was some song on that album that was actually kind of big, because his first album didn't really do too well. His second album kind of, with that song on there, he got a little bit more play.
You're right. When you go after people that are like big, like Westside Connection was kind of, suffice to say, Cube. You going after a group that's got Cube in it. That's going to create like some buzz. You know what I'm saying? And we understand that he worked it. Common became a guy that was sort of like more of a marginal type artist as far as the success, not from his talent, always thought he was a dude that had bars, even though I felt that he was boring. I thought he was still dope. He just wasn't my cup of tea. But he became like bigger. I definitely think it helped him out.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't even that album. That was like the big song on that album right there. And then the next album, let me see, the retrospective of life, the one with Lauryn Hill. Mm-hmm. I think that's the one that actually got him kind of big right there. I can't even think of the song right now, but
yeah, but back to Mac 10.
We got to stop the greed. Let's see.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. Okay. My first exposure to Mac 10 was I think it was the What Can We Do, when he was working at McDonald's, and what the name of that song? Yes, and I thought that was so dope.
What can I do?
Yeah, what can I do? Yeah. So and I thought that was dope. Can I roll with you? You know what I'm saying? And just I thought it was dope. I didn't know that he was gonna become what he became, but salute to him for it. A salute for him, pulling down T-bars. You know what I'm saying? Mac 10 is a dude that I got immense respect for. He just seems like a real ass dude. You know what I'm saying? One of them ones, as they say, so to speak. So, and there was a situation I remember Fat Joe was talking about, where he basically saved Common because, Mac 10's people, they're known to do stuff. That's one of the we'll get to it later. That's one of the reasons why Westside Connection fell apart. But salute to Mac 10, dope ass rapper, man.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Oh yeah. Oh, we'll talk about because someone got put hands on, and so that whole thing happened because Ice Cube's So Ice Cube's wife's brother-in-law. Yeah, whatever. He was talking reckless to Mac 10, and he got thumped on. And I'm saying
that's not the same incident you're talking about with Fat Joe, though, right?
No, it's not the same incident, but I'm just saying it's like you got to understand that these some real dudes. So when you dealing with them, don't lose sight of the fact that you're dealing with real dudes. This ain't just like some rap guys, you know what I'm saying? This ain't some industry stuff. You're dealing with some real dudes that will put tips on you. And that happened, and basically Ice Cube's wife, basically pulled a power move on Ice Cube, and Ice Cube, as a man, he's got to roll with his wife. You know what I'm saying? But it was a terrible thing for hip hop. It was a terrible thing for Westside Connection. But that's let's talk about the early stuff. Like you said, the beginnings of it was a song that they did on Mac 10's album, and they parlayed that into a dope ass.
It was actually on Ice Cube song. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was the first one.
That's well, you know what?
Westside Slaughterhouse was on Mac 10's album.
Yeah,
right?
that's on Mac 10 album. Yeah, Westside Slaughterhouse. But the first song that you heard him on was What Can I Do?
Yeah. I'm just talking about what started off Westside Connection. I'm talking about what started off.
Yeah, but that was like the first time I heard him. I think I actually heard him on the Lynch Mob. Well, they songs actually. I can't think of what the song was, but I think
he was on there. I probably first heard him then and just didn't know he was that same dude.
Exactly. That's the same thing like with Biggie. I heard Biggie on Heavy D, but didn't know it. I didn't put that together till like last year that Big was on that song. Anyway, though, so let me spin that back one time. But yeah, so just what we were saying though. Yeah, so they made that Westside Slaughterhouse, and like I say, that kind of started the West Coast, East Coast, beef in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That Biggie and Puff, Biggie, Puff, and Tupac and Suge, that was a whole different thing. It was a whole different thing.
That was personal. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like it rebel. It didn't rouse everybody. You know what I'm saying? It really didn't galvanize the people as much as it was like this camp versus that camp. But you're right. Once Ice Cube sitting there talking about throwing up the W, now you got Cartman on South Park, Westside. You know what I'm saying? This is like it became a big thing. So yeah, So no, it's for real. You are 100% correct, brother. That's what's up.
Yeah, and they went commercial too because they was on TV shows and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, the Westside Connection was one of the what they call like super groups in hip hop, like individual people that come together and make a group. They was one of the best that ever did it actually, and one of the most successful too, if not the most successful.
Yeah.
I mean, can you think of another group that was 3 individuals
from a super group? Yeah, nah. I mean, not really. I mean, because who did it?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else was either part of a group and did the. I mean, in a sense, you can argue that Wu-Tang is a super group because he was always about the individual artist, and he was like, "Look, I got a vision. Let's all sort of like Voltron this to Wu-Tang." But the bottom line, you know what I'm saying? So, that's your situation. So they really came out. The Juice Crew was a crew, but it really didn't come off as a group, not like Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is a group, and that was after the individual. So you could argue that Wu-Tang is the greatest super group of all time. But I mean,
but only 2 Wu-Tang people was actually established, or actually had records before, you know what I'm saying, that was actually been out there, people actually can recognize. These people already had records, Cube had his career going, Mac 10 was a solo artist, and Dub C already had, records and everything. Been in groups.
Hey, RZA and GZA had songs out, but not like them. You're correct. Not like them. Right. Yeah. But
the rest of them, they wasn't doing no music. That was their introduction to music right there. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying, any individuals that came from different like groups or solo artists that came together and made like albums.
Yeah, no one's done that. Yeah, you got stuff like the R&B. Remember LFG or whatever they did? Right. They only did that with like one album or something like that. But I mean, it wasn't on the level of Westside Connection. Westside Connection gave you the feelings of just a legitimate extra group. Yeah. I mean, one group that kind of did it, but still only one album, Lucy Pearl. But yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one album.
But even they only had just a few hits. It wasn't like
Westside. No one did it like Westside Connection. No one did it like Westside.
Exactly. Westside Connection. You could throw on that first album. You can play that whole damn thing through. Maybe even the second album all the way through. But it is where it is. So besides that though, yeah. But Mac 10, he was, like I said, he's underrated and everything. We already know what Cube is about. We already know about Dub C in a sense, but I just want to give Mac some shine, though. Mac started acting and all kinds of stuff. Because the Westside Connection did break up. Yeah, it was something that happened, but because
I'm telling you, this is exactly what happened. So you want me to tell you what happened? The bottom line is, yeah. So it was.
I know that what you're gonna say, everything, but I just ain't got no real details, down to the minute, like I know it has something to do with money and everything, but go ahead and tell what.
Well, it was business. It was about respect. I mean, it was the bottom line is that you got to understand. So Ice Cube, is he managed by his wife? I mean, she has a legitimate sort of like position in his like business. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and
sure.
And her brother, was basically given a job in their sort of like, thing, a legitimate job. Right. And he was talking to them sort of like an employer to an employee, which you got to understand, when you're dealing with artists, they're the thing. You know what I'm saying? I understand that you're the employer, whatever, but the artist is the star. So, you deal with them differently than a manager might talk to a fry cook. You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of situation. So he was talking to them recklessly. And then you got to understand you're a man talking to another man. This is always grounds for an ass whooping. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I know, wrong or right, if I talk reckless to another dude in his presence, that's very well may lead to a fight. So buyer beware. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing a whole lot of extra stuff, and he got thumped on. He got thumped on, and then it was a situation where it was like, obviously Ice Cube's wife, she's gonna side with her brother. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't okay. And Ice Cube, again, he's been married to this woman. It's a great example of black love, of black family, and he's got to ride with his wife. So that's what that was the situation. Family had to ride with family. Wife, husband had to ride with his wife. And this music thing that we love, it's not bigger than family. It's not bigger than whatever. So that's why it fell apart.
Okay, in all fairness, too, Mac 10 said he tried to go to Cube and try to, get him to straighten it out and everything. And Cube didn't do anything about the situation. That's why it went to the point where dude got thumped on.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That's the thing about it. He didn't just, great point. He didn't just dump on this dude. He actually tried to go around like, hey, this dude is out of pocket with how he's addressing me, and I always say that when someone tells you that and you don't do nothing about it, you signing off on them getting thumped. You know what I'm saying? You can't unring that bell. So, that's what it is. And check this out, dude. I don't have no family ties to none of you. Your ass got thumped for talking reckless, and you messed up a great musical thing. So, F your ass. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, go ahead, Opal. Hey, you talking about Mac 10. I don't know a lot of his individual songs, but Only in California. Woo, that's a dope ass song. Dope ass song. Go check it out.
Yeah, Mac 10 got a lot of good stuff, man. And you know what? I was listening to some of his old albums, and Old Dirty Bastard is on one of his songs. Trip Me Out.
Oh, damn. I think I do recall that.
ODB is on a Mac 10 album. In fact,
well, he's known for bum rush in the studio.
Yeah. You know what? I got to spin that one back. I'm over here trying to get to my album. Yeah, let me see if I can find it here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let me see. It was on the I think it's on the Recipe album. Let's see. I know Jermaine Dupri is on a couple of songs on there too. Yep, it's called For the Money.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember that.
Yeah, ODB. Crazy dude,
man. Rest in peace to that dude. He was just amazing ass dude. You know what I'm saying? Bum rushing the Grammys like that was legendary.
Hey, Wu-Tang is for the children. Y'all need to know that. Wu-Tang is for the children. ODB, 95?
I'm terrible with times.
Yeah, it had to be about 95, somewhere around up in there. Maybe 96. I'm not sure.
Shout out to Brother Walk. He's always great with times. That dude, yeah.
But like I said, I was listening to old Mac 10 old albums, and I'm thinking to myself, like I said, the one thing that did stand out is the boy got lyrics. He got lyrics. The way he delivers, that's his style. But he can actually switch up his style too. That's another good thing. He can actually rap with other people like E40 and some other people he's rapping along with, and he can actually get on their level, which I can respect. And then when you get with Cube, it's just like him and Cube was just like that was like Fat Joe and Pun.
Big Pun, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like they kind of blended together just that well, So I gotta give that man props there. But the Westside Connection, man, if they would have stayed together, man, they could have made so much money. It just kind of left Dove out, out there in the water a little bit. But Dove is a hustler and everything. He's still with Cube, still making money and everything.
Yeah, he was always still performing. He was still basically because he didn't have nothing to do with that. So
right.
There was no issue. But I mean, they've literally all three of them been at a venue performing. It's just that they won't perform Westside Connection because Cube ain't having it.
Yeah, Cube got, his wife said you can't do it no more. He can't do it no more. So that's where it is with Cube. So spend that back on time.
Don't you think you overstepping your bounds?
No,
hey, from 5 Heartbeats, he's like, you don't got your woman in check. But still, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I get it, Cube. I love Cube, so I ain't tripping.
Yeah. Cube is still one of my favorite artists of all time. But you know what? He's one of those people that's always going to get his respect. I remember in one interview I saw a long time ago, it was asking, I believe I seen this. They had asked Mac 10 who his favorite artist was. I think he had mentioned Cube, but I saw an up-to-date video. He didn't mention Cube.
And Cube has been talking kind of reckless though. Cube, they asked Cube, how come you ain't together? He said, well, he said he gotta kiss the ring first. That's some disrespectful stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I saw him say that out of his own mouth, and I was like, That's some clown shit, Q.
Yeah, that is
it's just like, look, man, if you took the position you took because of family, that's one thing. Don't go there, man. Don't do that.
Well, hey,
he ain't gonna do that. Like I said, he one of them ones. So he ain't gonna do that.
Shit like that. I had heard some crazy stuff about Mac 10 too. I heard a story about him being kidnapped by somebody would go unknown. It will go nameless on here, and he's rest in peace anyway. But he said Mac 10 was tied up in somebody's trunk. That's what I heard, but I don't believe that. I really don't.
I mean, anybody can be got. You know what I'm saying? It's just it can be happen. It ain't no shame in being overtaken. Hey, run, Charlemagne. Don't care what Dame Dash got to tell you, man. You ain't got to fight 4 people, man. Run, Force. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, Dame Dash. He talks so much that his teeth fall out.
Literally.
When you're talking too much. Yeah.
I made you be outside, brother. Made you think about Dame Dash. Yeah, Dame Dash make you think some things, But he's still, man. Him saying Wendy Williams is his OG is gonna be one of the funniest comments ever of all time. That's gonna go in the Hall of Fame of comments. You know what I'm saying?
This is your OG. Man, that's crazy. But yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. See, we on the West Coast, that's what I'm saying about people like Mac 10. He don't run his mouth like that. He ain't really talked about that whole situation or nothing. He just said, he laid out what he laid out and everything, but he don't talk about it. We don't act like those dudes. Well, Dame Dash is his own person. I'm gonna just say it like that because he's a one of a kind type dude. Mm-hmm. That dude, man, if he can just shut the fuck up.
Get out his own way. Get out his own way. I agree, man.
I wouldn't want to be in business with no dude like that. He just don't make sense. He just because all the shit he was doing before Rockefeller even broke up, he was just out of control.
And it worked. It worked to a point, but like some people have said even on the Focus Up show, both Walk and Afro Ignacy said, he stacked. He didn't grow. And that's kind of the problem, you know what I'm saying? You just can't keep doing the same old thing, you know what I'm saying? And it's he said one quote that he said, look, if I get it, I'm gonna spin it. And that's when he was talking about not having money. And I'm just like, that's not rich people mentality, because rich people are notoriously cheap.
Exactly.
They get stuff for free. They live off a comp. You know what I'm saying? They have all that money and they get ish for free. But exactly. I'm not gonna call this dude broke because he still has assets. He still got his house. He still got what he got. You know what I'm saying? He's still a legend in the game, and I root for his success. But yo, bro, you came out here capping about the revolt thing and all this other stuff. Maybe it was I'm gonna say maybe it was wishful thinking. Maybe it was wishful thinking.
Maybe it was a misunderstanding.
Maybe it was a misunderstanding. I like that too, because I ain't trying to bash the black man. I really ain't trying to do that.
And he said it was a misunderstanding. He tried to explain it, and I told myself I'm not going to even look at his response for trying to explain it, because it's like, dude, you're already in the hole so deep. I don't even want to see you go no deeper. You know what I'm saying?
You lost me with Sticky Nicky or whatever, Nicky Icky, whatever. When you sent her after 50 and Cam, that let me know that you probably need to step down from the music business. That song was garbage, by the way.
I don't even know what it was, but I don't even want. He said he was out the music business. He was one of those people saying ain't no money in music. He's been saying that for a long time. Anyway, these people.
And he was smart. He was smart because he went into the clothing and fashion and stuff like that. That was a good pivot as far as hip hop. Because if you're not touring, that's where you're making the money. And now the music industry is so messed up because of streaming. It's tough out here, man. You basically got to eat off touring.
He was doing films and stuff too, which brings me back to Mac 10. Mac 10 was doing films and stuff after, his music started falling off. I gotta respect that. Mac 10, he got some good movies too. Him and Fat Joe.
I was about to say, I saw him in a movie with Fat Joe. Yeah, I saw that. I don't want to give out the twist. Yeah. But yeah, that was interesting.
I forgot the name of that movie. It's a good ass movie.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I was very entertained by it. Yeah, someone coming. He was like, he saw him walking through the neighborhood. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna give him a pass. Because of something that happened." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, nah. And like I said, there's a twist at the end. I ain't trying to go there. But yeah, it's a good movie. I was entertained by it.
Damn it. You know what? It's on the tip of my tongue too. I can't even think of a name.
Yeah, all you got to do is go to IMDb or actually just Google Fat Joe and Mac 10 movie. It'll probably come up because they probably ain't been more than one movie, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check it out right now, y'all. So just
so since you're doing that, I'm gonna just spit there and speak on Mac 10. Like I said, to me, dope ass rapper.
And water.
There you go. That's what
yes, sir. Is. Go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
And honestly, no, that's really it. And like I said, that's it's a dope title in light of everything how it plays out. So I was very much entertained on it. I ain't gonna sit there and tell you it was Citizen Kane or Usual Suspects. I found it to be very entertaining. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Spin that back one time. So I respect that man. Business acumen. He's been doing his thing. And he keeps quiet. I like people that's kind of quiet.
One of them ones.
Everybody talk about Jay. Jay so quiet. Jay don't say nothing. Jay don't have to respond to. Jay ain't never responded to nothing except the takeover.
yeah, he'll do it in a song. He'll talk about that. But yeah, he's also grown man. The billionaire type stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he on something else, man. He don't even have to even. Well, Choke No Joke did make a good point. He said the reason why Jay-Z ain't dropping no good music is because he ain't got nobody to steal from. Say that one back. All right. So so what else can we say about Westside Connection? They got about 3 good albums. How many albums they got out there?
Yeah, I didn't pull it up. I want to say that I know for 2 for sure, but they might have 3. That's the thing about it. When we say the supergroup did this, they had multiple albums with multiple dope ass songs on them, and they had a lot of songs that hit the radio. You know what I'm saying? They were in rotation. These were a bunch of older cats, a bunch of OGs in the game that were still basically competing with the young bucks, and I always have tremendous respect for that because there's a lot of people that aspire to do music and come out and do stuff. And there's people that I might have thought was garbage, but the fact that they still achieve success, I'm always going to give them props for doing that because a lot of people weren't able just to do that. And these cats weren't just doing success. They were doing good music. So, salute to when the OGs are still putting it down and putting in the work.
Man, I hope y'all brothers find a way to put your differences to the side and get out there and get that money.
Oh my goodness, man! Just make it. It's just hip hop. Be hip hop. Be music. All it's gonna do is be productive for everybody. But I can see Cube's like, I got the big 3. He's got all type of stuff going on. Cube. You also had what was that movie that bombed the super bomb? Mars or whatever it was. Whatever the situation, War of the Worlds, you know what I'm saying? World, yeah. So it's not all gold, but in Cube's defense, they did that during the COVID shutdown, and some people decided to put that out. Y'all should have Leonard fixed that. You should have just let that mug stay in the vault. In the vault.
Hey, did you get a chance to look at that Cube shit, the black and white, with the black family and the white family?
I think I saw it back in the day. I remember that documentary, you know what I'm saying? Again, Cube was a person that always was doing stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's a person that never stopped grinding, you know what I'm saying? Never stopped doing successful things, you know what I'm saying? So
that was an innovative ass show, man. I had looked at that whole little thing. It was actually pretty good. I liked it. I don't know what happened, after that first one. They should have had maybe they should have had another one, but it was creative. Q got his hands in a lot of stuff. You got to give it to him. Cube he's a phenom. He's done his own thing.
He's on my Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? So that's he is that dude. So and like I said, this group. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about particular songs. If I were to look at the discography, there's certain songs that just really resonate with me. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it goes. I'm just telling you, Westside Slaughterhouse. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. I mean, the beat is just it's so violently good. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like to me, I like energy. I'm not really like the smooth. Like I respect smooth stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's cool and all, but I just love bangingness of hip hop. And that song, in my opinion, is a banger. But they had some bops. They had all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Their discography is just like, you know. So, and again, I'm really not a West Coast guy. I'm a West Coast underground guy, 100%, but really not a West Coast mainstream guy. But Westside Connection fell right under my umbrella. You know what I'm saying?
So, what's West Coast mainstream?
West Coast mainstream would be like, well, definitely like NWA. You know what I'm saying? But after that, you're talking about really West Coast mainstream would be like the big artists. I mean, obviously Pac was West Coast mainstream, even though, you know, I had tremendous respect for Pac. But, you know, when you're talking about groups like, you know, Snoop, you know what I'm saying? I mean, definitely G-Funk, all of that stuff. That was, you know, you talk about everybody that came out of that. You talk about, you know, 213. You're talking about the individual artists that came. You talk about the Twins. You talk about all of everything. Really, the whole G-Funk dynamic. When you're talking about, you know, Above the Law, you're talking about Above the Law was kind of underground. You know, yeah, they weren't really mainstream. But I'm just saying that, you know, Young MC, that's the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Tone Loc. This is the West Coast mainstream. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. That was like really doing number stuff that was actually getting on. Yeah, MC Hammer. MC Hammer, exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's a big one right there. So, you know, I don't know where the white boy was from. Ice Baby.
Oh,
he might have been
Texas. He's from
Texas. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but when you talk about also, when we talk about the like, you know, the West Coast stuff, especially Oakland. I mean, that stuff was mainstream. You know what I'm saying? These things were very successful. You talk about the Lunatics and stuff like that. I mean, you know, I got 5 on it. That's
the Loonies.
The Loonies. Sorry, the Loonies. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was an underground song that just happened to just blow up. You know,
I think that's fair.
Because that's a real song that you really know by them, right?
There we go. Born Alive. Man, I should have just basically, now you know you're gonna mess up and you're gonna make me send you a link. I don't know if you're ready to jump.
What up, boy? What up?
Exactly. That's why when I talk about, you know, the West Coast Underground, the West Coast Underground was Born Alive, was Freestyle Fellowship, was The Good Life, was, you know what I'm saying? So that's what, you know, and Liquidation, even though Exhibit was like, he became mainstream, he blew up, you know what I'm saying? Especially hooking with Dre. Liquidation, that was West Coast Underground. But go ahead, Stock, for a second. He probably not going to be able to come on. But guess what? I'm about to send you the link.
So you was talking about individual songs. So one thing I can say is like West Coast Slaughterhouse, that did start off. I mean, excuse me, that was on Mac 10's album, his first album. It started off with the Mickey D's lick, which is like the continuation of, or another perspective of Q coming into the McDonald's, or actually Q working at McDonald's and Mac 10 coming in there to rob it, and Q like, man, can I roll with you? Yeah, come on. And, you know, they just went on from there. But Faux Life, that one song, Faux Life, that's the first song I really heard from him. Okay, so I had one problem with this song. The third verse, he was like, something about this, it's a son of a bitch on the roof, yermed up in his birthday suit. Mac 10 to the rescue. It's like you finna go help the dude, right? Next thing you know, you start dumping and all this old stuff. I thought you was helping this dude. Now you talking about, you know, you talking about just dumping on fools. It's just
rescuing the situation.
Yeah, I thought you was going to be a superhero, but you want to be I don't know what the hell you turned into. That's the only problem I have. I was just trying to figure that out. I always tried to figure that out. Like, what do you mean? Like, you finna go help the dude, you know, shermed up on the roof, acting like he finna fly. You gonna go help him, but next thing I know, you shooting at somebody. I'm like, it might be the same dude. I don't even know.
I mean, I felt like during that time, hip hop was way over gunny. You know what I'm saying? There was just like, I remember there was a Family Guy skit where they were talking about, hey, you know, 80s rappers, you know, they're gonna be some nice, you know, it's like we're gonna bring us some 80s rappers, and some 90s rappers showed up. They're like, run 80s rappers, you know, because the 80s rappers were like breakdancing and whatever, but the 90s rappers was, you know, shooting and guns and all this other stuff. So it's kind of where it like culturally kind of went. So, you know, I just feel like that's kind of where people were talking. I mean, even Salt and Pepper. just the whole vibe of Shoot. You know what I'm saying? You know, you looking at the Thug and all this other stuff and whatever. I'm just saying that, you know, it just Young MC, he was the mainstream guy, and he basically was putting on that suit and talking about, you know, all this stuff. They like literally tried to completely rebrand this guy into like whatever. They did that with MC Hammer. We didn't realize that he was a real thug, but you know, he's sitting there dressed in, in jeans and all this other stuff, you know, and doing all of this stuff. And you know, turns out that, you know,
look what
MC
they tried
Hammer
to do to the RZA when he was Prince Raheem.
Yeah, you know, we love you, Ronnie. Well, they do put that stuff on, you know what I'm saying, as an artist. And they'll mess it up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just I remember
of course they do, yeah, because you see what Buffy did with the Locks, had them in them shiny suits and everything, looking like Missy Elliott.
Ouch. You know what? You can say what you want, but you sure did click up with some dope ass dudes. And when you talk about Biggie, when you talk about Black Rob, when you talk about the Locks, you know, that's one hell of a roster right there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Mace wasn't bad, you know, I guess.
Yes, he was garbage. Mace was a colossal success. He was the dude that Cannabis thought he was talking about when he was talking about LL Cool J. 99% of you fans was wearing high heels. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Back in the day, I don't know if you recall, people was talking about Mace like people was talking about the dude from No Limit. What's that dude's name?
Slim, Soldier Slim, or
what is you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that dude, whatever his name was, the way people was talking about him, that's how they were talking about Mace, like rapping, because his rhymes were like, Mace not the guy that is such a slang, Mace the guy that puts on the line. He just was real draggy and whatever. Now I will say this: when you listen to him talk, you go, oh, that was just his cadence, that was just his vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he said they say Mace was a rapping monster in Harlem before he started recording.
Right. That's real talk. That's real. That's real.
Well,
he was part of Children of the Corn. It was Mace. Yeah. I think it was Cam, and it was Big L.
Well, then he hella sold out because the pop music that I heard was a dude that was basically, you know, yeah, nah, man. I mean, but again, I always respect. Look, I'm not mad at him for doing like female music. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Big Daddy Kane did it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wait a second. I got to see what. Here we go. Puff changed Mace's image. He was originally Murder Mace and was in a group with Cameron called Children of the Corn. That's what Puff discovered. Okay, you guys are letting me know because the guy that was out there, that he completely sold the F out. Because you know what I'm saying? The pop star that I heard, you know what I'm saying? And people was going after, like I said. And to me, I felt like, look, you know, I could bop to it, but I wouldn't respect it. You know, I just felt like, hey, get your money. That's what I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't that guy that was spitting like that. You know, if he got some dope ass music and part of Murder Mace or whatever, then you know I definitely need to check that out. And I owe that dude an apology only because I didn't hear the good stuff. The crap that I heard was still the crap. Can't tell me nothing about that.
I mean, he dumbed down his style to fit in. That's what it was, you know.
Hey, money. If he's a businessman, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
Well, they used to call it selling out in my day.
Yeah, I mean, he sold out, you know, but he actually made his money though, you know.
Yeah, he successfully sold out. I love his commentary, and he's definitely is one of the ones as a dude. That's his whole vibe. When I listen to him and Cam, you know what I'm saying? I got nothing but respect for that cat. I love listening to their show. You know what I'm saying? So I love the fact that they pivoted to this. You know, ex-rappers is killing the game with what's the show that I can't believe I forgot the show that Nori's doing, but you know his show when
Drink
you talk about Drink Champs, when you're talking about what Cam and Mason doing, man, these cats are knocking out the park. I love those cats. Love those cats.
Yeah. Well, May said like this. He said, I was selling out stadiums. Ooh. He sold out stadiums.
Oh, no doubt. He was a dude. He was a big success. He was a monster for Bad Boy doing they pop bullshit. Yeah. So tell me something other than what I said.
Well, anyway, What was that 5 minutes of funk you wanted to talk about though?
Oh, so we're gonna since everybody's got the guns at me, now I'm really about to piss y'all off. I'm saying that I was like reflecting on we talking about Westside Connection. I was saying hot take. I personally like the discography of Westside Connection better than the discography of NWA. And the only connection I have it is that these were groups that Ice Cube was in, but I actually like the Westside Connection discography better than NWA's discography. At me.
Hey, I mean, but you gotta think about it. This was when Cube was just first starting off. You know, he wasn't really on every song like he is on everything on the Westside Connection. You know, it was just a whole different time frame and everything. I think we already discussed that. Yeah, it was a whole different time frame. The music was recorded differently. You know, the sound quality was a whole lot better.
Evolution of music. The music, they were more musically sophisticated. You know, obviously the rhyming was more sophisticated. Thanks to, speaking of Born Alive, thanks to The Good Life that basically changed the whole pattern of rapping and stuff with cats that were doing. You could just walk out there with the same old boom bap. You know what I'm saying? Now you had this whole other riffing and things that these brothers did that were just, you know, on a whole nother level with it. But yes, I'm just saying that, you know, yes, NWA wasn't America Most Ice Cube. It wasn't what's the song? You know, what's the album? Damn, I can't believe it. Death Certificate Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but when you talk about and you can argue that maybe Westside Connection wasn't those verses either. But I'm just saying he did some dope ass stuff. You know, fuck the whole world, black. Y'all better hope I don't grow my Jerry curl back. That's a dope ass bar. You know what I'm saying? And it's that cute, clever stuff. You know, whatever. Or when he talks about, you know, you can tell, you know, Samuel, I'm gonna keep acting. And you can even tell that motherfucker Jesse Jackson, pay your child support. You know what I'm saying? It's the bottom line is you talk crap to Cube was gonna come back for you. So, you know, he did some dope things. So, you know, I love that song. I believe that's the Westside Connection song. Maybe.
Honestly, I will say this though. I like the NWA stuff better. And I'm gonna have to lump Eazy up into the NWA stuff.
No. That's not the rules.
No. So I said I can only throw in what Straight Outta Compton, and that's only.
Yeah, it's 2 albums. Or did they have an EP before? What was the situation? Because they had 100 Miles and Running. They had Appetite for Destruction, or niggas would.
Well, I'm talking about just with Ice Cube alone.
Well, I just said NWA, so I'm giving NWA their full discography. I'm not taking nothing away from NWA. So that also
because NWA evolved then, because they had to, because it was, you know, Cube left. So when Cube left, it left a void. So I couldn't even compare it on that level then. But I can compare when Cube was with NWA, and like I said, you have to put like the Easy stuff in there, all, you know, like the 8 Ball and Dope Man and all that old stuff.
NWA was definitely more influential, more legendary, no question. They did what they did, and their, you know, what their contribution to just rap and hip hop is bigger than what a group that came out way later than that. Mm-hmm. But I'm just talking about the quality of the discography. That's all I'm talking about, because I mean, also I was part of it. Part of my angst is my hate for NWA because of the whole D Barnes situation. So I literally did. I wouldn't even listen to Niggas for Life. To this day, I still ain't even paying attention to it. I, for all intents and purposes, have forgiven Dre after a fashion, after he's at least owned up to it after a fashion. But, you know, I'm still not going to go back and forgive NWA. Yeah, that's bullshit. But, you know, yeah, it is what it is. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I'd rather listen to West Coast Connection songs than the NWA songs, because even though I loved that at the time, a lot of that stuff feels kind of dated to me. Like, I love Dope Man. I think it's dope. I can listen to Dope Man right now and think it's dope. There's some songs on that, you know, on that NWA album that I can definitely rock to this day. You know what I'm saying? But for all intents and purposes, I'd be more inclined to want to listen to something that was part of the discography of Westside Connection. But of course, I'd rather listen to a whole lot of other music maybe than just even those two.
Well, if I had a choice, I'd probably listen to again, early NWA with Cube, you know what I'm saying? Because by the time you got to 100 miles and running, only thing I really liked on there was really like Real Ends, Real Niggas. Fuck it, let me just say it like that. Real Niggas, that was my song because the production on there is just on point. Everything about that song is just ridiculous. But all the other stuff I listen to because I like it. Yeah, I guess it's because of the influence and what it did for me at the time. You know, as far as like, you know, me getting into music and production, just listening to the production and everything. Because Dre kind of got me into listening to production and how stuff was being put together for some reason. I didn't know about a Public Enemy at the time. By the time I did get to Public Enemy, you know, it was a whole different thing. But I was introduced to or getting interested in production because of the stuff that Dre was doing. So I just have to spin that back. Dre has been really instrumental in me and my hip hop journey.
Hey, you didn't hear this from me, but I did hear that song. It was phonically dope. I will admit that. But yeah, you know,
It just don't buy super
dope. But again, also had I had two strikes. I wasn't effing with NWA because of the whole D-Bar situation, and I just thought it was just ignorance for the sake of ignorance. It was phonically a dope song. You know what I'm saying? You know, I ain't gonna front. There's good stuff on there. I mean, there's Appetite for Destruction. I mean, you know, they did, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say. I'm just saying that I didn't give it a chance because of that, and I just don't know it. So when I talk about the discography, obviously I do know the Westside Connection joints, and they got some stuff that, you know, I messed with. Yo, man, DJ Pooh was DJ Pooh a part of that? DJ Pooh was the man. I don't know if DJ Pooh had anything to do with that NWA stuff, but he is an example of someone who was a great producer. Maybe that's what he was just talking about, a dude that motivates you, influence you, that, you know, because he was one of
you might be right about that.
That's probably what he was talking about. Yeah.
To be honest with you, yeah, DJ Pooh had a big influence too, especially when I found out. Well, I didn't even find out. I was already influenced by LL Cool J Bad album. Then finding out that Pooh and them had did that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
In fact, I think I had read it on the album, like, but I was like, who in the hell is the LA Posse? I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Then I found out it was DJ Pooh, and because I had heard Pooh's name, because Pooh's name was big as Dre back
DJ Pooh, I don't know about that, but DJ Pooh had me at King T. He already had me at King T, much less the stuff that he did with LL Cool J and all the other legendary stuff. He had dope ass St. Ives commercials. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. So, you know, DJ Pooh was that dude, you know.
Yeah, DJ Pooh was a legend, though. He was out here, you know, his name was known, you know, with Mixmaster Spade and all them. Yeah, Pooh was around, all that. Anyway, so we just wanted to give a shout out to the Westside Connection. You know, let me actually put up some pictures of them. Westside Connection, Mac 10 first album, just called Mac 10.
Go check out that song, Only in California. It's a banger. I think it was on this album.
And then The Recipe. All three of these albums are great. Bring back the Westside Connection. Why don't y'all get together, brothers? Can't be having y'all out there like that. Man, Mac 10, you know, Mac 10. And he has some funny songs too. He got a song called Mosey Wozy. Y'all need to check that out. It's just funny as hell. But anyway, so I guess this is it for us this week. So
it is, but before you pass it out, we got Born Alive. Hey, go check out Born Alive's music. You know, he's got some stuff that's just dropped. You know, I've seen some new music that's out. Go support and listen to some great stuff. Hey, real talk. Hey, Born, man, I love your discography. Like, for real. I would definitely choose to listen to your discography over NWA. But, you know, NWA, man, I'm not just trying to bash those cats. You know what I'm saying? They were legendary dudes that they brought us Ice Cube. They brought us, you know, Eazy and all this other stuff. So they helped make the West Coast respectable. You know what I'm saying? They were the people that broke down those boundaries. NWA did great things. They did a bunch of terrible things too, but you know what's up. Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
and born alive, I want to say one more thing too. Let me spin this back one time. Like I say, when I heard that Freedom got an AK, I thought about Freedom got a shotgun. Spin that. All right, so we finna be up out of here. So
early, getting ready for the wake.
Hold on. What I got there? Sorry about that. All right, so thank y'all for joining us here at the In That Back Show, 10:30 on the Saturday morning. Here after the Focus Up Show, 9 o'clock every Saturday morning. We might be back next week. I think next week we might have another show in this place. So but check us out. We will be back though. So anyway, like, share, subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. And we're gonna have to stay patient